This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello, boys and girls of Augustinian Academy. You have never joined us before. You're joining us for the first time. A very warm welcome. Strawbridge Elementary, you have joined us before. Welcome back. Moody School, you have never joined us. Please feel free, feel very much welcome. And Rowan Preparatory School, who have never joined us but will be joining us much later. To all of you, is a very welcome for those who have been with us before and those joining us for the first time. It's very exciting to have you with us. And my name is David, and with me on camera is Archie, who has been on home for a couple of weeks and he's back. We are very excited to have you boys and girls with us today, and you have just so we got some elephants for you there. I request you for only one thing as we do the drive with you today. Ask as many questions as you can through your teachers. And should you have any comments, do the same through your teachers. A nice day today, 29 degrees and about 79 degrees Fahrenheit. Please, we are going back to the elephants now, and it's going to find out who will ask me the first question today. All right, these are African elephants. That's what we call them. Elephants are different from where you go in the world, and you can see to the right of that female there's a baby. Look at that baby, boys and girls. And you can see she's flapping her ears because it's a bit warm. As I said, the temperature is a bit high, 29 degrees Celsius here, or 76 if that's what you use back home, Fahrenheit. And because it's windy, she will eat and look up just to be sure that all is going well. She's facing a different side from the mother, but if you look carefully, the mother is very close, and what she's doing, because the wind has picked up, she's going close to the mother now. See how she's running? Urban, that's a very good question, and you're number one to ask me the question. Very well done. And you'd like to know, do animals ever dehydrate during the dry season? I would say no, because these animals, like the elephants you see there, are very clever animals. And what would happen during the dry season, they know where to go and source or look for water. If the rivers are dry, or if the springs or the wells are dry, or some lakes, elephants are very clever animals. They know how to dig for water. And if they dig for water using their tusks, their trunks and their legs, they will drink, and then they'll always allow the other animals to come and drink. So it's not easy for them to dehydrate during the dry or when we have a drought. Big problem would be if maybe the amount of water or all the water bodies you think of could dry, then there could be a challenge to some other animals. For example, hippopotamus. The hippos cannot do without water. Actually, unfortunately, should it be so dry and all the rivers and all the lakes and all the springs and swamps dry and they not have a single drop of water, hippos unfortunately will die, because hippos need to be in the water the whole day and only come out at night. But animals like that, they always manage, and if worse comes to worse, the food that they eat, most of it, the leaves, will have a bit of moisture, which they can always. You see, there's another elephant there in the bush. And you see, they keep flicking their tails. Should they have any flies, that's the reason they'll flick their tails, or just showing that they are very happy and they have no worries at all. Now, boys and girls, I am in a country called Kenya, in a game reserve called Mara Triangle. But there's another friend of mine all the way in South Africa. He's looking for something very special, and he would like to say hello to all of you.
Hello and welcome everyone. Yes, I'm looking for one of the most rare carnivores out there. It's called the African wild dog. My name is Brent Leo Smith. I have my friend Craig on camera. And we had the wild dogs around here this morning. No, there's impala and stuff here. They're not here anymore. Okay, I'm gonna keep searching. Okay, so I'm gonna concentrate now on trying to find these wild dogs because they can be quite difficult to find and they move. Oh, there they are. We didn't have to concentrate too hard after all. Hello, puppies. Hello, Jolene. Jolene would like to know what is the most endangered animal we have. In this area, Jolene, it's a difficult one to say. The most endangered animal is probably, well, wild dog are definitely one of them. Cheetah's another. Pangolin's another. We do have some rare and endangered bird species as well. But out of the carnivores, probably wild dog are the most endangered. Now, they are fascinating creatures. They are incredibly good hunters, and they have been known to catch lots of impala per day. And they also catch lots of small things, such as scrub hares and little duikers and steenbok. Today is International Cheetah Day, indeed, but we are with the African wild dogs now. And they are my favorite animal by a long way. Now, there are 8 wild dogs in this group, and they're all lying in a very tight pile. Now, that's a very good sign. When wild dogs lie in very close piles, it means the pack is very good, and that there's a lot of strength amongst the pack, and it means they'll stay together. Now, some of the biggest threats that affect wild dogs is disease from domestic dogs, as well as a lack of habitats and habitat destruction, and of course natural threats to the wild dogs. Lions are their biggest enemies. Audrey is wondering, do we ever help the animals medically? Only if what has happened to the animals is being caused by human beings. If a lion injures a wild dog, we will not help the wild dog. That is natural. And we are here to observe nature. It is not our place to interfere with nature. Now, there's a good chance that they're going to hunt as it gets cooler. And their favorite food is inadvertently walking straight towards them at the moment. They haven't spotted it yet, but there is an impala antelope, and that is one of their favorite foods. Now, they are what we call coursing predators, which means they run down their prey. They are capable of incredible speed over long distance. They can do about 50 to 60 kilometers an hour, but they can keep it up for up to 4.5–5 kilometers. And they have very high metabolisms, which means they have to hunt very frequently. And normally they'll hunt and eat twice a day, unlike a lot of the other animals, like lions or leopard, which will only eat every 2 or 3 days. There we go. Hey, puppies. So, like we don't interfere with medically with the animals, we don't feed the animals either. This is a natural system. It is a wild system. It is in most parts a perfect system. We do not need to interfere. If the animals are dying from a lack of food during a drought, that is part of the system. A drought helps remove the weak and make sure only the strong survive. Now, to give you an idea, we are part of the Greater Kruger, which is 2.7 million acres, hectares, which is close on 6 million acres of unfenced open wilderness area. Now, we've seen elephants, we've seen dogs, and Jamie's got a hyena to show you.
I have a hyena that is having something of a spa day. Now, a very warm welcome to, and in this case, a very, very warm welcome, because it is actually quite warm and muggy here in South Africa. My name is Jamie, and this afternoon, Sebastian is on camera with me, and we've just come round the corner and found ourselves a lovely surprise. And this is what makes being out on safari so much fun, because I thought we were going to go and search for a leopard, and instead we've found a different sort of spotted predator. And we're going to try really hard to find a cheetah for International Cheetah Day. I don't know if it's going to work, but for now we'll settle with a much bigger predator. Now, I said it is hot. It's around about 95 degrees Fahrenheit hot. So this hyena is cooling down. Isabella, hello to you. I hope you're enjoying your safari. Isabella would like to know how fast a hyena can run. Now, it is not as fast as a cheetah or a lion over short distances. In fact, the fastest that a hyena could run is probably around about 30 or so miles per hour, maybe just a little bit faster. So they're not as fast as a cheetah, which can run up to 60 miles an hour. It can actually run double the speed, but what a hyena can do is run and run and run and run and run and run. So you know how some of your friends are really good at running very, very, very fast over short distances. Maybe you do athletics and you go and you have your sports days and you go sprinting across the field. Some people are good at running short distances, and some people are really good at running much longer distances. Now, a hyena is one of those animals that has amazing stamina. So that means that they can just keep running. And that's the way that they hunt. They don't try and sneak up on their prey. They're quite sort of noisy animals, but they actually just keep running. Now, hyena love water. More than lions, more than leopards, more than anything else out here, hyenas love water. So when it's hot, like on a day like today, and there's a nice puddle like this, then they are more than happy to come and roll in the muddy water. And that's exactly what this hyena is doing. It's cooling itself down. Oh, Tyler, very good question, and I'm happy to hear that Tyler knows that hyenas hunt and they don't just scavenge. Now, Tyler wants to know if hyenas will ever go for prey that is larger than they are. And the answer to that is yes, they do, because they hunt in groups. So hyenas live in a clan, which is kind of like a pride of lions, but it's a little bit larger, and not all of the hyenas are related to each other in the same way that lions are. So they work together as a team. Oh, actually, kind of like those wild dogs that Brent is with. They work together as a pack. Hyenas work together as a clan. So they can actually hunt large animals like buffalo or zebra or wildebeest or giraffe. They can work together in that way to grab an animal. And basically what they do is they chase the animal until it falls down or it gets really, really tired. Bless you, Seb.
Thank you.
Something's gone up Seb's nose. The hyena didn't even look across at us. He is so relaxed. And hello to Isabel, who wants to know whether or not hyenas are as mean as they are in movies. I have to tell you, Isabel, that movies are a little bit mean to hyenas because they're actually really, really intelligent animals. And it's a pity that you're not with us until a little bit later this evening, because I'm actually going to the hyena den where there are baby hyenas. Now, hyenas can be very strict with each other, and they can bite each other, because they have a very strict hierarchy that is enforced by the ones that are sort of the more important ones in the clan, the higher ranked ones. So they can enforce that, and they do occasionally bite each other, but they are actually can be quite affectionate to each other, and they do have friends, they do play, and believe it or not, a lion is more likely to steal from a hyena than a hyena is likely to steal from a lion. Can you believe that? So hyenas actually do hunt a lot of the food that they eat. Out here in the Sabi sand, they do scavenge quite a lot, and sometimes they steal from animals like leopards. But remember that animals don't think like human beings think. They don't think about what's right or wrong. They act on instinct, and they act in order to survive. So it's very difficult to say that what an animal's doing is bad. When a lion kills a buffalo, it's not thinking about how the buffalo is scared or suffering. It's thinking that it needs to have a meal. And when a hyena steals from a leopard, it's not thinking that the leopard wants to eat, it's thinking that it wants to eat. So they're not nearly as mean as the movies portray them. They're just animals who try to survive. And guess what? They're the most intelligent animals out here in certain respects. Right, we're doing really well this afternoon. We're showing you as many iconic animals that we can that occur out here in Africa. David has found another one. It's just a little bit taller than this spotted hyena.
Well done, Jamie, with the hyenas there. And boys and girls, now we got something very different. And we got the tallest animal that you can think of in the whole world. Look at that giraffe. She's definitely looking at something that I do not know what it is, but sometimes when you see giraffes or certain animals looking like that, they could either be looking for a cat or, you know, an animal they don't like, for example, a lion or a cheetah or a leopard. It could be anything. Or sometimes they might see a small little animal like a warthog, puma, and they mistake it for something dangerous. She looks relaxed now, so it meant it wasn't something very worrying for her. Now, I'm sure you all know this is the tallest animal in the whole world, and giraffes got one big advantage that all other animals do not have, because the giraffes can eat the leaves that are at the very topmost of most trees. And you see, boys and girls, there's another giraffe there, and another one, so 3. So that one is passing 2 in that small little laga or valley. And just look, she might decide to eat those leaves of those very tall trees. Alex's good question. How tall can giraffes get? Some giraffes can be up to 5 meters high. Can you imagine? I'm talking about 15 feet tall, and that is for the boys. And then the girls could be about 4.6, which would be about 12, 13 feet, slightly bit shorter than the males. But some males, the very big ones, can go up to 15 feet tall. Now, Alexis and the other boys and girls, if you look at that one carefully, look at the end of what, for now, I'll call the horns. And you see at the very top of those horns, she got some tufts of hair. You see that? That is what tells apart males from females or boys from girls. Now, girls have the end of their horns like that. Like, you know, all of you girls, I'm sure you have a little longer hair than boys, right? As much as some boys have longer hair than girls. But what I'm saying, in general, the giraffe girls or the giraffe females, because the girls, we call them females, have those tufts of hair on top of the head, like Archie is showing you. Now, if you'll be lucky to see a boy, and boys we call them males, the top of those horns will be flat. They'll be flat or a bit bald because they keep fighting with each other sometimes. And in the process, they lose all that hair that we call fur. Now, if you look at the background there, you can see some zebras. See how lucky, boys and girls, you are? And all these zebras, I'm sure you have noticed the vegetation here in Kenya and the one in South Africa with Jamie is different. Claire would say a baby giraffe is about 7 feet. It's much taller. And when they're born, they are very big. And of all the animals I know here in the bush, giraffes, when the babies are born, are always the tallest. Now look at that one that is looking at us. And if you look carefully, the horns are not like the one we saw before. They do not have as much fur or hair at the very top, which means that one is a boy. And you can see how the wind is blowing. You can see how the trees are being moved from one side to the other. And all the zebras in the background. See how big a giraffe is compared to the zebras, they are very tall animals. Look at that and how beautiful it is. Zach, you'd like to know, can zebras be aggressive? In general, zebras are not aggressive at all. You see, like, they are two good friends, and I think they're scratching each other. But Zach, if you'd surprise a zebra by mistake, she might be aggressive because they don't like to be surprised, and she might come towards you or use his kicks to, to hurt someone. But in general, Zach, zebras are not aggressive. And the same case to giraffes. So all these animals, we know them, we know how they behave, so we always make sure we respect them. And once we respect them, they'll just appear on the screen like that. And me, where I am, and Archie, we just enjoy watching them every day. So another one has come up there. So we got different types of giraffes in the world or in Africa. So this particular one here is called the Maasai giraffe. You'd like to know if giraffes will eat branches that have thorns. Yes, because if you look on their tongues, they got special tongues. Their tongues are like rubber. So if the thorns will come to their tongues, it does not hurt them. They just tend to bounce back. As much as they will always try to avoid the thorns, but if the thorns come on their tongue, they are never bothered very much. So those very young thorns, giraffes will comfortably eat them, and they use their long tongues to reach them. So animals that eat green matter, like these giraffes here, or like the zebras that you see in the background there, we call them vegetarians. And a better word than vegetarian would be herbivores. Herbivores are animals that eat grass that's green, leaves that are green, and twigs that are green. So both these giraffes and zebras are herbivores. The big trees you see there, we call them magic ngware trees, and many animals, including the elephants we saw before, they love eating them a lot. And they get lots of vitamins and nutrients from them. In general, the zebras, like you see in the background there, tend to eat more grass than leaves. Giraffes and zebras are a bit different because you can say zebras are grazers. And grazers are the animals that will tend to eat more grass than anything else. Giraffes, we call them browsers. And browsers are animals that will eat leaves, twigs, branches, and, green stuff like that. But zebras in general will always eat grass. Remember, the zebras are very similar to horses. Not the same family, but they are related. And the only difference is, you see, these zebras got stripes, while the horses do not have stripes. Now, I think your day is going very well, boys and girls. We'll take you again back to South Africa to see some dogs with my friend Brent.
Well, we're still with the dogs, but there's an unsuspecting herd of impala getting closer and closer, and there's a strong likelihood there might be some baby impala amongst them, which is basically a wild dog's snack. So there we go, you can see the impala. They haven't seen the dogs that are sleeping. Hello, Matt. Matt would like to know, what is the scientific word for wild dogs? Well, Matt, it's one of my favorite scientific names. It's Lichen pictus, which basically translated means painted wolf. Of course, they are actually not that closely related to wolves, having been separated from the canis, which is all the other dog species, about between 1.6 and 1.8 million years ago. They have modified teeth, so they've got very different sets of dentition to the domestic dog, and also they have an extra toe, and they have incredible stamina. There's another impala, I think, some warthogs jogging past as well. Now, dogs might not go after the warthogs, and they've got very sharp teeth that can do quite a bit of damage to a dog. Okay, we've got some dogs up. Or they might have spotted the impala, because impala are right here. Kirsten, there's baby impala as well. They have not seen the dogs yet. So guys, I'm just going to warn you that sometimes dog hunts can be a little bit gruesome. So we're going to send you across to Jamie to see what she's looking for.
I am looking for lions. That is what I'm looking for. So I heard a rumor that there were some lions not too far away from where we are now. I just wanted to go and check the water quickly. But typically at this time of day, lions are sleeping, mostly. It's really, really warm. Lions don't particularly like the heat of the day. So they'll be asleep somewhere, not in the shade because there's no sun, but they will be asleep, trying to wait for it to cool down a little bit as it goes into evening. You'll notice every now and again that you'll see a pole or something, and that's because we've had to put a roof on just in case it rains. Now, if it does rain, that means that the lions, the wild dogs, even that hyena we saw earlier, will be heading out to go and hunt. I'm quite surprised that Brent's wild dogs got up as soon as they did, but obviously those impala have wandered towards them. Okay, so it's going to take me probably 7 minutes to find the lions. Jordan, for you guys it is winter. For us it's summer. So we're in the southern hemisphere. We are actually quite far south in the southern hemisphere. So basically what that means is, due to the tilt of the earth, it essentially means that while you guys have your winter, we have summer. And then when you have your summer, obviously we have our winter. Now, it is, what we sort of talk about is the fact that it is the dry season and the wet season, and this is our wet season. Okay, I'm going to race to the lions, get you there quickly before you have to go back to the rest of your school day. Let's go across to Brent, whose wild dogs are playing.
Yeah, so this is a very important part of wild dog family behavior. It's called the greeting ceremony, and they'll do a lot of high-pitched little tweets and chirps, and they touch each other's faces. And it's sort of the precursor to hunt time, getting up and getting ready to go out on the move. Impala have all run away now, so the impala babies are safe for now. And so there are 4 adults and there are 4 baby wild dogs here. And the baby wild dogs are the ones who are making all the noise just now, running around and greeting everyone. Basically what they're telling the adults is that they're hungry. It's time to go get them some dinner. And not quite ready yet. There was a small greeting ceremony. Normally they last a bit longer. There we go. And say, come say hello. No, digging a nice cool spot in the sand. So just like your dog will at home, I don't know if you've seen, dogs will dig out soil to get a nice cold patch of sand to sleep in when it's hot, because it is quite hot here at the moment. Well, that's the first of their greeting ceremonies, and I think they're going to come more frequently over the next little while. I guess they would be getting up and going hunting at about 5:45, or 5:45, which is about 15 minutes. Sam is wondering, will wild dogs attack a group of animals bigger than them? Yes, they will. They'll use their numbers, superior numbers, to bring down bigger prey, such as kudu, wildebeest, and even in some rare circumstances, buffalo. Now, Let's just try and move a little bit so we can see them a bit better. Sophia's wondering, does every wild dog have a different pattern? Yes, their pattern is unique as our fingerprints. They all have different patterns. Let's have a look there. The babies, the puppies, they're about 7 months old now. The 4 little ones there, the ones that are likely to be the most mischievous and playful at the moment. So unfortunately they have a very, very high mortality rate. The young ones, only about 20% of the babies born each year will survive to adulthood, sometimes even less. Okay, while I wait for the wild dogs to wake up, let's send you all the way back to the Masai Mara and to my good friend David, who is wandering across the open plains and very different bushveld to here.
Well, hopefully those wild dogs, boys and girls, will wake up. And there's nothing as exciting as seeing wild dogs in motion. They look very colorful, especially if you'd be lucky to see them running, or even more luckier if you see them hunting. And wild dogs have been known to hunt any animal they would see and choose to hunt, even including the buffaloes, like what we're just watching here. These are called the African Cape buffaloes. And both boys and girls will have the horns, as you can see there. That one has a baby in the background. But most important, boys and girls, if you look at them carefully, you'd wonder what they're doing in their mouth. You notice they're chewing and wonder they're not eating or they're not getting grass from the ground, but they're chewing. Buffaloes are types of animals that we call ruminants. And ruminants, boys and girls, are animals that we always, and before I continue, look on the left horn of that buffalo there. She got some mud. You see that? And sometimes when they go and wallow, they always dig some mud, and there's some mud sticking on the left horn. Anyhow, ruminants are animals that eat grass. Clear, good question. How long do their horns get? It could be between, you see there's a bit of a curve, but if you put it straight, it could be about 2 feet or about 24 inches. But if you look at it carefully, it just curves. And clear, look carefully, boys and girls there. You see at the center there, it's very heavy. At the very base of the horns, it looks very big, and we call that a boss. And because it's very big, that is a boy. If you're going to be lucky and Archie is going to see a female or a girl looking at us, you will notice a huge difference between those horns and the ones of a girl. So saying ruminants are animals, just well done, Archie. I think you've got a girl. Very good. Now, clear look, they're the boys and girls. You taste the horn there? It doesn't have that big groove, and it's not as big like the first. This here, I guess it's a girl. And that's how, by looking at the horns, you can tell the difference between boys and girls. Now, ruminants will be eating grass, for example, or leaves, cut, chew a bit, and swallow. Cut, chew a bit, and swallow. And then afterwards, when they're not doing that, you'll see them regurgitating. Regurgitating means to bring it out of their stomach and to their mouth. If they had first gotten the grass or the leaves and they chewed just particles that size, when they bring it out, they chew it and cut it into smaller particles than that. And that way then they are able to digest it. Sometimes you see ruminants got 4 stomachs, not 4 per se, but they got like 4 chambers where they get the grass, first store it somewhere, bring it out, chew it to some smaller particles, and then swallow it and then come out the normal way. Those are ruminants. That's why if you go back to those buffaloes, you're going to see some of them are chewing something, and we call that regurgitating. Sorry, I missed the question from Zara. Very good, Zara. You're asking whether buffaloes are born with horns. And not really, Zara. They're not born with horns, just like the cows. As much as they're different animals, they look like cows. But if you look on the head when they're born, there's a small little knob. Look at that particular one there. And I think Zara actually had your question. She does not have any horns. So they're not born with horns. There's just a small little knob or swelling where the horns will come out. And as they grow older, the horns will always come out and start developing. First, they come out straight, like facing up. And as they age or as they grow older, the horns will start curving and they start facing each other. But in general, they are not born with horns. Look at that small one there. If you see, her horns do not seem to be curving like those ones for the adults. And you notice she is very busy chewing what I said is called cud. So they remove the food they had eaten earlier from their tummies, bring it out, and re-chew it to smaller particles, then they swallow it. And those are called ruminants. So an example of an animal that's not a ruminant is a zebra. All right, boys and girls, those looks a bit different. And those are wildebeest. Mariella, you're asking how old can a buffalo get? Let me try to remember, 25 years or so. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to confirm. I always carry my big book because I have so many animals to put in my head and try to remember. So I'm going to tell you in a very short time. And I'll tell you for how long buffaloes would live for. Look at that one and how he's just chewing cud. And I guess that one is a boy because of the size of the horns. Remember we say the boys have much bigger horns than the females. Yes, and I think I was right. They live for about 22 years. I think I'd guessed 20 or 18. They live for about 22 years. More or less just like cows. 22 years is the lifespan or the years buffaloes live for. See that big boy? You can see the horns, you can see the big base of the horn, very heavy. And if you look carefully, there's a bird hitchhiking on that buffalo. Look at that. You see, on the top of the shoulder? And that bird is called an oxpecker. An oxpecker because they'll always peck or they'll always try and remove parasites from these buffaloes. And they could be mites or ticks. And we call that relationship symbiotic relationship. So the little bird that's jumping on the head now, maybe going to the eyes or the nose, you see? Because ticks love to stay by the nose because the skin there is very soft. And then once they bite there, they can suck some blood. It is not like that bird. He's just shaking his head to get it off. So the buffaloes benefit when these birds remove the ticks, and the birds benefit by feeding on the ticks, and we call that relationship a symbiotic relationship. Boys and girls, I think things are getting better and better for you because Jamie got some very interesting animals for you now.
I do have interesting animals for you now. And remember how I said I knew that there were some lions not far from where we were? Well, here you go. Here they are. A pride of lions resting up in the heat of the afternoon, doing a little bit of grooming, cleaning their paws, using... Now, how many of you have cats at home? Oh, what? Someone's going to have a big stretch. I was going to say, how many of you have cats at home? Have you ever been licked by a cat? You know how rough their tongues are. A lion's tongue is just like that. It is just even rougher than a cat, which makes sense because they're that much bigger. So their tongues are so rough that they can actually scrape meat from the bone of the food that they eat. But they use it to groom their thick, yellowish fur. Make sure that their paws stay clean, their fur stays clean. There we go. That's what this lioness is doing it now. Now, welcome to Amelia. Now, Amelia wants to know how big a lion can grow. Now, there's a big difference between lionesses so female lions, and male lions. So a really big male lion might reach around about 200 kilograms, which is over 400 pounds, maybe even a bit bigger than that if he's had a big meal. There's some lions that were famous for being absolutely enormous, and they were over 200 kilograms, so close to 450 pounds. Our lioness is quite a bit smaller than that. So with a lioness, you're looking at around about 130 odd kilograms. It really depends upon the lioness, the area they're in, whether or not they've eaten. So just over 260 pounds or so of lioness, about 280 pounds. So there's a big difference. Now, when a lion walks past a human being, now I'm about 5'7", to give you an idea of how tall I am. If a lion were to walk past me, her head would come close to my chest level, maybe just a bit below, maybe closer to my stomach, and her shoulders would be taller than my hips. So that's how big a lioness is, and a male lion is even bigger than that. So when I'm sitting in the car and they walk past me, you can see if I'm sitting here, this car is quite tall, it's quite a big car, but if a lioness walks right close next to me, then her shoulders are probably around about here or so, and her head could be up about here. So if she wanted to, but they never do because they're wild animals and they don't want to, she could put her head on my lap. That's how big a lion will get. So these are all fully grown, almost fully grown lions. Emily, believe it or not, almost all lions have fluff at the end of their tails. Oh, somebody's having a pee without even bothering to get up. Now, all lions have fluff at the end of their tails, except for those that have lost the fur for some reason. So sometimes they lose the tip of their tail, sometimes the fluff gets bitten away. But that is very, very important because animals, remember, lions can sort of talk to each other. They can growl and they can make contact calls and they can roar, but they can't speak like we can speak. So a lot of their communication is through visual means. So like a dog wags its tail or a horse puts back its ears to show it's upset. Lions do the same thing. Now, black is a color that shows up very clearly in the bush. So it is a color that emphasizes what they're trying to say to each other. And the tail is one of those important methods of communication. Particularly, imagine if they're hunting. They can't make any sounds, but they've got to tell the other lionesses what to do or where to go. And so you get black on the back of the ears and black on the tail. It also, of course, helps the little lion cubs to follow their mothers through the long grass because that black shows up so clearly. But there's a lot of research that's been done into the black on the back of their ears, which shows that they actually talk to each other using them. Welcome to Roan Academy, Class 4P, I believe. They have just joined us and they want to know how many teeth a lion has. A lion has 30 teeth, so 6 incisors at the top, 6 incisors at the bottom, which equals 12, plus 4 canines, which equals 16, and then 14 molars, or premolars and molars. Now, all of those teeth are very, very important. Ola, good question. Do they get cavities? Because, of course, there aren't many dentists out here. Now, one of the ways that you can tell the age of a lion is to look at the condition of their teeth, because they don't get to go to a dentist, they don't even brush their teeth, they don't floss their teeth. But because of the way that they are naturally, yes, they can get cavities, but they're quite rare, because they have a really, really good immune system and their genetics are such that they've got really good, solid teeth. So when they chew through bits of bone and meat, they often clean away the worst bits of sort of muck that's left on their teeth that could cause plaque and could cause cavities. So as they get older, this one lioness is up. As they get older, they can lose teeth and their teeth start to wear down and they can get cavities, but they're very rare, not nearly as common as they are with people. Right, it has been awesome spending time with the various students. We're going to sit here with the lions, but it's time for the rest of you to continue on with your school day. Right, we bid you farewell. Hope you had fun on your safari. For the rest of you, off you go back across to Brent and his wild dogs.
Well, we're still waiting for them to wake up. I had a mini greeting ceremony a bit earlier, which I thought might lead them to be up and on the move, but alas, not just yet. The adults look quite content around the base of this marula tree. The puppies are a little bit off to the left. We can't really see them now, but they sort of thought about trying to wake the adults up, get them on the move, but alas, no such luck for the puppies, who I'm sure are a little bit peckish now. Didn't look like their bellies were too full this morning. It seems like they had eaten something, but nothing of too big. But as you know, patience always pays off when it comes to sitting with wildlife. And that is a contented looking face on that dog. So the impala did spot them when the puppies decided to try wake everyone up. And the impala made a very fast getaway. And the temperature's starting to drop steadily now. There's some cloud cover. It looks like those big storms have moved further to the west of us. And you can just see moving out in that direction and southwest of us, actually, to be precise. Victor is wondering, are there any wild dogs in the Masai Mara? Very, very few. Young Oli was fortunate enough to see, I think it was 2 or 3 when he was in the Mara, but there are very, very few in the Mara Serengeti system. They are plagued by canine distemper from the Maasai herdsmen's dogs, so it's very difficult for them to survive in that area. I'm very, very, very much hoping that they head north from here, which keeps them in Djuma for as long as possible. Of course, we have no control in which way these wonderful critters will go. But now they seem quite content to snooze. So while we wait patiently for the dogs to wake up, we're going to send you all the way back to the Masai Mara with Gigi.
Well, hopefully they're going to wake up and be quite active, like all these scavengers they got here, starting with that one, when sometimes, or where some people have called them one of the ugly 5, or we got 2 of the ugly 5. I do not know how that came about, but we got a whole party here of birds, and I'm talking of vultures and the marabou stock, and most of these are the repulsed griffon vultures and the white-backed vultures who are feasting on a zebra, which I would most likely think died of natural causes. From what I can see, most of it remains intact. Of course, the internal parts have been taken by the scavengers, the eyes, the ears, and I highly doubt it was a cat or predator that brought it down. It could have died of bloating. Yeah, the good news, yes, that stock there, good feet and very, very long feet. And if you look at those feet, good news, carefully, they all look white, and that is not the natural color of the legs of the marabou stock. But apparently when they drop, when they poo, it comes, or it just drags along the feet, and it makes them white, which we think helps them also to cool off. So the poo comes along, the feet, and then just sticks there and helps the marabou stalks to cool off. So that is the color of its poo as it comes down. And being scavengers, once in a while, they'll try and eat a bit of meat and also a bit of bone. But now all these vultures are having a party here for what they never killed themselves. And what they're doing is just to dig in their heads in it. And no wonder if you look carefully, in general, vultures do not have feathers on their heads and necks because it could not be healthy for them. They would come up with lots of blood from dipping their heads right through the flesh. So they got very sharp beaks and very strong, just like surgeons. So they put them in, cut, and then just pull out as much flesh as they can. So this particular one is called the Ruppel's griffon vulture, and it's quite a huge flock. And the only thing is, they normally have no table manners when they eat. Tanya, good question, and you're asking how tall the marabou stalk would be. I would give it about 3 feet and a few inches. It's about 3 feet. You see how she's opening her beak? So it's about 3 feet, or just slightly bit less than 1 meter. Tanya, you notice she has been outnumbered massively, and she has no choice but to wait until the many vultures first feed themselves, then she'll have a chance to do what she can to get a bit of flesh. Vultures do pretty good job. They help clean the environment or the savanna here. Sinak, the marabou stalks here, are the vultures here, and the ones in South Africa are one and the same. There's no difference if I look on the behavior, if I look on their size, they are one and the same. And feeding same, scavenging same, everything to me, these vultures and these marabou stalks. Oh, good question. My apologies, Sinak. You're asking about the difference between the males and the females of the marabou stalk. Yes, if you look at the male of the marabou stalk, below the neck, they got something like a sac. And during the breeding plumage, that sac balloons and becomes very colorful and very big. That way you can easily tell the difference between a male and a female marabou stalk. That's the way you can tell the marabous, the males from the females. But in size, more or less they're the same size. So there's one particular vulture, if I actually move back a little bit, that has a red head. And of all the vultures we have in Kenya, of all the 7 true vultures we have here, that one there, if you keep going at the back, maybe the other way, there's one that, got a red head, and that one is called the lappet-faced vulture, and it's always the strongest among all the vultures that we got in Africa. If an animal die, excellent, that's it. If any animal die of natural causes in Africa, and not from the cats, this particular vulture, they got very strong beaks and very sharp. They're the only ones that I know are able to open up any dead animal. All these other vultures will always have to wait for the lappet. Sometimes you also call her the Nubian vulture, to open it up. But in this case, she is outnumbered. One other special thing about the Nubian vultures, they always go in twos. A male and a female, as much as it's one here. I'm not sure it's a male or a female. Whereas all the other vultures will go in flocks, 5, 20, sometimes up to 50. But that one there, red, bold head, lappet, you can see the folding of the skin, on the back of the skin. That's why she's got the lappet fist. And they'll always go in twos, male and female. Look at that very heavy beak. And you don't want that beak on you. And as much as we say vultures scavenge what has been left behind by predators, they also hunt. Linda, I guess your question is, do vultures ever get in the water to have a bath? That's the question. It's yes. Once in a while, you'll see them doing that. And on cool mornings, any water or any water pan, you always see vultures cleaning themselves. Because you would imagine, Linda, when they live here, they'll all be very smelly. So if they're having any differences on who to eat, it's just like as I said earlier, they have actually no table manners. Jump in, grab as much as you can, then jump out. If anyone that's out there thinks you've had enough, they come in. Oops, the marble stock got herself something. Not sure what part that is. She didn't like it. Or do you want it again? And funny, she might swallow the whole of it. And this is all mine, and keeping the vultures away. Didn't like it again, dropped it. Then picks it up. Once the vultures pick it up, she's going for it, but she's not eating it. Poor zebra. So I would guess it could have died of bloating. It's very unusual to see animals, dying here for any other reason. And definitely not a cat. If it was a cat, say lions, most of it would have been opened up and this skin would be gone. We could be seeing the ribs already out and the cat having got better of the flesh. And you can see the stripes always come all the way to the belly of this what used to be a zebra. So this zebra here is called the gravy zebra. It's called the common zebra. But if you got to north of Kenya, you'll see a different zebra. And the stripes that you see on the belly of this zebra, the gravies will not have them. The bellies are all white. So that's one major difference between this particular species of zebra and the other one that you'll see north of the equator in Kenya. We'll always say this one is much closely related or similar to the donkeys, and the gravies to the horses. So look at this. The ones close to the camera are the white-backed vultures, and the one moving there are the Rupert's griffon vulture. It's a little bit bigger in size, and the marabou stock comes in like an undertaker. And she's saying, as much as I am outnumbered, I still stand tall. And what she does is to take any advantage. If anyone or the vultures will pull any flesh out and then to drops it by accident, the marabou stock will very quickly pick it up. It got the advantage of height and its long beak. Come on guys, you need to be more organized when you feed. So you lose so much energy by fighting, you waste so much time fighting. This is very interesting, and hopefully they'll continue eating. I'm trying to imagine this particular area I am in is always occupied by territory, by lions in this territory, which I've not seen for the last 3 days. And I want to leave these vultures eating here and move to find out if I could be lucky and see the lions. But in the meantime, there's someone flying a drone in South Africa.
Seb is flying a drone in South Africa, Seb being the only one who is capable of such maneuvering. So we have followed the Nkuhumas. They've actually got up and they're now looking intently off in the direction of, well, something. Now there's us in the background. You can see us over there and you can see the lions. And I thought, well, we're doing some night tests this evening with the drone, and we have the drone with us. And it's a very, very dense block and drainage line that we're about to go through. So I thought, well, why not? Let's have a look and see if we can follow them as they move. We're not going to in any way disturb them or upset their hunt. It actually will help us to ensure that we don't make any mistakes while we're following them through this thick vegetation and while they're trying to creep up on something. There you go. You can see them looking around. I think what we should try and do, Seb, is we should try and see what they've noticed or what they've seen.
Okay.
Let's have a look around. They definitely heard something across in the distance.
I'm going to catch a little bit of height.
There we go. Seb's going to go up a little bit and let's see if we can spot what it is that they've seen. That's Aubrey's Road over there. Trying to orientate myself. Yeah, that's Aubrey's Road there. No, it's not actually. That's Voyatella, isn't it? That's Woyatilla, and then Aubrey's Road running up to the right. And then...
I don't see anything.
No, I don't see anything either. I wonder if what they heard. I wonder if they just decided that this was a better place to be. Now, of course, the Nkuhumas are... This is not the full contingent of Nkuhuma lions. We are missing several. They are still split from the rest of the pride. Now, I don't know where they are. The 2 Mangeni males are with them, as is one of the Talamati males. There's just one lioness that's been very interested in searching for something. It is shockingly dry. Now, looking at it from the air during the day, which we haven't done up until now, it is dry. We really need as much rain as we could possibly get at this stage. One lioness is still moving in the same direction. It's interesting that they're choosing to hunt now at this sort of temperature, but they are really, really hungry. How cool. It's amazing how some animals are completely relaxed.
Yeah, the Nkuhumas really don't mind the drone.
No. Seb, of course, has had plenty of experience following the various animals out here, and he said that the Nkuhumas are absolutely fine with the drone. Obviously, when they start to hunt, we'll make sure that we don't disrupt them in any way. Oh, it's dry. Wow. Something that we don't really see from down on the perspective of from the perspective that we're at, because the trees are so green that we can't actually see how dry it is. But there's Juma, and it is just brown. There's just isolated patches of green. Green marula trees, mainly marula trees. I hope there's some more rain on its way. Right, so now we're looking at the network of roads. There's quarantine clearings at the top middle of your screen, which is the open area outside our camp. We've got a lot to look at. We're going to keep searching to see if we can figure out what's attracted the lions' attention. You never know, we might just have a reunion with the rest of the pride. We'll have to wait and see. Well, the reason we took the drone out, actually, or what we were thinking about this afternoon, was to follow the dogs. But for now, it seems as though Brent's dogs are flat.
Indeed they are, but the temperature is dropping, and I'm hoping that they are going to start getting moving shortly. And that is the one reason I did ask Seb and Jamie to take the drone out with them, because keeping up with dogs when they're going at full pace through the bush is nigh impossible. So that's why we did make sure the other vehicle had the drone out this afternoon, so if they do go hunting, we'll be able to second guess where they're going, and Jamie can keep me updated about where I need to be. But at the moment, they are still snoozing, but I'm not moving a muscle. Patience, patience, patience. I thought they'd get moving by now, but maybe it has been quite humid today, and the heat is just keeping them flat for a little bit longer. So maybe in the next 20 minutes to half an hour, hopefully they should get up and on the move and on the hunt. Now, of course, this is 100% live, and we cannot predict, well, we can predict, but we cannot force the animals to move when we want them to move. They're on their own schedule. And schedule for this very moment in time is nap. Q-Chick would like to know, can wild dogs hybridize with domestic dogs? No, they can't. They have been separated from the Canis, which is the domestic dog, for between 1.6 and 1.8 million years. They cannot crossbreed with domestic dogs. They have a completely different set of dentition, different foot structure, and different metabolism. So no, they cannot crossbreed with domestic dogs. They are no longer in the same family. They're in the same genus, which is Canidae. but they are no longer in the same family. So a domestic dog can cross with a wolf in theory. Domestic dog and jackal, whatnot, those are possible, but not possible with wild dogs. Now we can hear in the distance, which is I was listening to, is and Craig spotted it doing it just now, the suicide dance of the red-crested Koran, and you can hear him clicking and going, and we're just keeping an eye out to see if he does decide to do the suicide dance, but not for a while yet. Hear that beak snapping in the distance. Joshua is wondering how many packs of wild dogs are there in the Kruger. I'm not sure of the exact numbers, Joshua. In this area there are about 4. So I'm guessing probably 15 or so packs, depending on your definition of a pack and size. But there are a few. I'm not 100% sure on how many packs. There's about between 200 and 250 wild dogs in the Greater Kruger. And very still, very humid. So quite humid, and that could be one of the reasons why they're not up and moving just yet. But I don't think whatever they ate this morning is going to be enough to keep them sated, so I think they will hunt again today at some point, but it might be closer towards the end of the day. While we wait for our wild dogs to get up and maneuvering, and let's go across to the lions, who seem to be doing the exact same thing as the wild dogs.
We thought that they were going to get up and hunt, but I think they were actually just heading into a better place. And a slightly more comfortable patch, maybe just a place where the ground was slightly cooler. There is one lioness who is still looking intently in the direction of Aubrey's Road, off to the west of us. I'm just wondering if she hasn't heard something moving off in the distance. It must be quite far, because we haven't been able to spot whatever it is with a drone. There are the 2 Mangeni males. Hungry. And that's us in relation to where the lions are. So they're across in front of us. It is a very difficult patch, actually, for us to get through to get a good view of them. What's astounding me, and what I've just mentioned to Seb, is that it doesn't look like it's a thick area from the air. It looks, you must think I'm completely mad when I said that it was such a dense area that we would have struggled to follow them. But it is, I promise. It's a really thick area. It just doesn't look like it from the air. And there we go. Seb's moving around us. It's fascinating to watch. So cool. And the lions are completely relaxed with it. Completely, which I'm glad about, because we would obviously immediately land the drone if we at any point at any point they were uncomfortable. In terms of where we are, Seb, do you think it's a bit far? Do you think you can manage?
Where is he?
He's at Zoe's Philemon's Cutline Junction.
Okay, point me in the right
I can point you in the right direction. Okay, turn to the left. Ooh, this is going to be tricky. Yep, keep turning to the left, keep turning, keep turning. Brent is keep turning, keep turning, keep turning, keep turning, keep turning. There-ish. Somewhere there. He is sort of in a straight line that way. I'm trying to work out which road that is. That's Zoe's. Yeah. Okay, so that's Zoe's over there. Is it? Yeah, he's right down towards the southern boundary. Okay, so Brent might be a little bit too far for us to fly all the way there. To go and say hello, should go fly over his head. He's quite far, but he is in that direction. So he's around, he's over 2 kilometers from us at this point. So we could take off and leave the lions. Mr. Public, it's such a good description. Mr. Public says that the animal paths are like veins through the bushveld. That's exactly what they look like. There's lines that look, those are, for our new viewers, are made by the passage of animals backwards and forwards for years and years and decades and centuries, which is very, very cool to think about. I noticed it particularly in the Mara, in the Masai Mara, when we were filming from the hot air balloons. The animal trails were what struck me the most. We've got one lioness who's just got up, 2 lionesses that have just got up. They are still moving towards Aubrey's Road. I'm disoriented now. Oof! It takes some getting used to being up in the air. I know I've experienced that when I've been in helicopters trying to find animals to dart them for whatever reason, whether it's for veterinary treatment or for capture, whatever it happens to be. I found that no matter how well I know a reserve, sometimes it gets confusing. Okay, so to the right of us and up ahead, there's a fallen log. They've just gone through there, and they're moving that way. They should be visible shortly. Where is that fallen log in relation to me? Ah, there we go, well spotted. There we go, there's one up ahead of us that is walking along those exact game trails. 2 of them, 3 of them, there we go, they're up, they're moving once again. And fortunately, we'll be able to keep track of them. Let's play Spot the Lion. It's like playing Where's Waldo, only a lot more fun. Because there's multiple individuals. And we're off. Goo, you want to know where the closest river is? The closest flowing river or the closest dry river? The closest dry river is probably the Manuleti River, which is around about 20 or so kilometers from us at the moment, which is about, what is that in miles? About 12, 13 miles. And then the larger rivers, things like the Sand River, the Sabi River, are quite a lot further, sort of, you're looking at around about 50 to 70 kilometers away. The Olifants, the Letaba, those are all massive river systems that used to flow all year round, particularly the Olifants, which was a massive, massive river, which unfortunately no longer flows all year round, because further upstream it has been utilized for agriculture. It's very sad, the way we've changed the shape and nature of our planet. You read the old books about how the Olifants used to flow strongly in the middle of the dry season. Now it's just a dry, sandy riverbed. And there will come a time, not to be depressing or anything, when it doesn't flow at all. Sib, shall we? How are you doing? How are you doing for battery? Cool. All right. Seb is on 35%, 45%, which means that he needs to land the drone. So I'm going to move back so that he's got a bit of an open clearing, and then we'll follow on the lions from where we last see them. So I'll keep checking my monitor to make sure I can see what they're up to. We're going to head in that direction. It's going to take some interesting off-road driving and some interesting flying from Seb. So while we do that, off you go to Gigi, who's also doing some driving, but across in Kenya.
Well, it's always magical to see the stuff down from a drone, and especially in Juma, when you see all the thickets, because it's very difficult, unlike the Mara, to see a straight line where you don't have much vegetation cover. Now, we got an eagle there, and this is the long-crested eagle, and as the name suggests, you can see the crest on her head, and before it gets dark, she needs to look for last-minute dinner or for last-minute any rodents moving on the ground. She'll keep turning her head. And yes, Casting the final control says a beautiful view, and I think Archie is doing wonderful framing, and that's what sometimes they call natural framing. On that very big, solid, magic Ngware tree. And in the background, what you see is the Olololo escarpment. And that's one of the arms of the Mara Triangle. When you talk of the Mara Triangle, there's the escarpment you see in the background there. So one big difference, as Jamie was showing you on the drone, is the openness of the Mara Triangle. You see, apart from the tree with that eagle there, the rest of it is open grassland that we call the savannah. And it's very easy to see 5 straight kilometers or 3 miles straight from one point to the other. Look at that beautiful horizon. You can see all the way to the horizon without any visual pollution. Scattered trees here and there. And for that reason, it's always very easy for us to spot game from quite a distance, because at that distance I can easily spot an elephant or a buffalo or a giraffe, and sometimes even cats. Unlike in Juma, you have no thickets and vegetation like what we're seeing there. You're coming up to another big bird there. Looks like a vulture to me, or is it? Yes, it's African white-backed vulture, and most likely she could be looking at the vultures we saw earlier that were feasting on that zebra. Not sure why she's there and not going to join the rest of the party. And we had unfortunately to leave them because it was getting very smelly. Not far she is from the long-crested eagle, as much as they feed very differently. The long-crested eagles will always hunt for their own food, and as I say, it could be anything from rodents, meaning rats, mice. Sometimes they go for reptiles like skinks. Rosalind, I guess the question is what they eat, and they feed on rodents, and that could be either mice or rats. They also feed on reptiles, lizards, any skinks. They also feed on snakes. Apparently, they would be able to catch snakes for themselves, and like any other big, any other eagle of that size, they also feed on smaller birds. They feed on small birds or chicks or eggs that they may get on the ground. And they've got very good eyesight. And once they turn their eyes like that, I'm sure they're trying to spot anything moving on the ground. Good. Zebras, they're all just looking under there to see whether there could be any movement. I thought Archie had spotted a savocat. Archie of late has been spotting savocats. He's been away on leave and he has come back. He came in last night. Archie is the camera operator with me today, and he has promised me we'll be able to spot a savocat before we end the drive. Minamo, that's a good question, and maybe I will not be able to give you a very good answer. I'm trying to find out why birds would have a crest, you know, like that crested eagle. We have seen also crowned eagles, you know, they also have them. And trying to look at the long crested eagle and what purpose it would. If maybe Minamu, it could be in the males only or on the males only and not the females. We would say it could be for beauty, as males are always more colorful than the females. But apparently, even the female of the long-crested eagle will also have the crest. Minamu, I'm sorry, I do not know for a fact, but I'm sure when I hear Minamu is quite a familiar name. So stay tuned, either me or Jamie or Brett might have an answer and maybe tell us why do these eagles have the crest? What purpose do they serve? If not for good looking, and I would say for males, unlike the females, I don't see what other purpose they would serve on those eagles. Not in flight, not for balancing. I have no idea completely why they would have them. And for that reason, we're going to be moving forward. And Archie's telling me it's time to go and look for a savocats. Hopefully, Archie, keep your eyes open. And I think why Archie's saying that, before he left for leave, in this particular area, we had seen a savocat that we stayed with for about half an hour, which was a very long time to stay with a savocat. Definitely, they're very territorial, but also they got huge home ranges and they keep moving. So most likely, she is not here. She is gone. Well, I am in the Republic. I haven't seen them. I was here yesterday. They said I didn't see any. And for those who have joined us before, sausages, I'm talking of a pride of lions that we call sausages. Well, I'll keep searching for them. I'll keep looking for them. But in the meantime, we'll take you back to Brent with his wild dogs.
Well, our doggies are still very much flat dogs. And as I say, the one nice thing about dogs is they can go from flat to high energy and moving at high speeds very quickly. And I'm hoping that the puppies start waking the adults up again shortly. We're just going to have to play patience. It's very important, that's the patience game. They didn't look too full. Now, of course, while you were away, the red-crested Koran did its suicide dance. And he's gone quiet now. Here we go. A bit of wind picking up, dropping the temperature a bit. Could this be the moment to spurn the dogs into moving? I don't know. Well, there's a head that moved slightly, and an ear that flicked. Joshua is wondering, is there a specific reason for the white on their tails? Yes, Joshua, it's a follow me mechanism. Particularly once they've made a kill, they all, with their heads down feeding, they stick their tails up, and that white tip is a sort of flag for the others to spot and come rushing towards to get their meal. So just like the black tip to a lioness's tail and white tip to a leopard's tail, it's the same principle. Very, very flat for now. Poor puppies. It's been a hot day. Not sure how far they came from this morning either. Here we go. We are getting to about the right time when they should start waking up. But for now, they are still very much sleeping. There's a few little stretches happening. So, Kimberly is wondering, do wild dogs mate for life? Kimberly, the alpha pair will, as a general rule, stay together for their lives. Their lives are relatively short. Average lifespan for a dog in the wild is only about 6 or 7 years. But males will mate with beta and gamma females occasionally. And sometimes the beta or gamma females will give birth. In most cases when that happens, the alpha female will kill the puppies, but there are a few recorded cases of an alpha letting the beta or gamma females actually give birth, and her pups were then about 6 or 7 months old and helped raise the beta or gamma females' pups. So very rare, but it does happen. And say the dogs don't read the guidebooks, only we do, so they can do what they want when they want. But as a general rule, only the alpha pair will breed. Well, it seems like everything's flat on Juma at the moment, but of course that can always change in a moment, because you never know what's going to happen on a live African safari. So in the meantime, let's send you back to Jamie and the lions.
I don't know if I would call these lions all that flat, to be honest. In fact, I think they've been more active than Brent's wild dogs have been. Okay, now they've settled down again, but flat, truly flat lions have their heads down and they lie on their sides and they look as though they could be deceased if not for the gentle movement of their chests. These lions are not flat. They slowly but surely making their way towards something. It just goes to show that with all the technology in the world, sometimes most of the time, we don't match up to their senses. They're smelling something or they're hearing something. And it's led them in this direction. And I suspect we're going to do this throughout the afternoon. We're going to get up and move. And we're going to go down again. We're going to get up and move. Listen here, lioness. If you fall asleep like that, you're going to get a terrible crick in your neck. That is going to be horribly uncomfortable when you wake up. It feels comfortable now. Trust me, I know. And then it's going to get uncomfortable. Also, one of the furry chin. It's been a long time since I've acquainted myself properly with the hyenas. Oh, the hyenas? No, I've spent plenty of time acquainting myself with the hyenas, with the Nkuhumas. With the Nkuhumas. And I have missed them. And I know this one well. She's got a very hairy chin. Hey, girl. Where are the rest of your ladies? Wonder why they've been split. Must be to do with the evokers, but... Or maybe it's just to do with food availability. Having those young boys around, extra stomachs to fill. The buffalo haven't been around. There's a youngster at the back there. Seb and I, just by the way, just so that you can all hail us for our heroism. I mean, we nearly died driving through that block. Okay, nearly died is an exaggeration. Seb's looking at me as if to say, oh, come on. But, I mean, at one point it was touch and go because we've got the roof. We've got this very unwieldy thing, and you know it's not going to rain. You know it's not, even if the weather did say 70%. It's just not going to happen because we put the roof on, and we actually, for the good of mankind and Juma, we should have left the roof off.
I think that is thunder.
Yeah, I know, I saw some lightning as well. But we were trying to get through and the branches were smacking us. And Kirsty says she hopes it rains so that it's right, which goes to show that Kirsty's forgotten just how desperately we need rain here. I hope it rains, Kirsty, so that I'm wrong and that the bush gets what it needs. I'm just that virtuous. Woof. Okay, says Kirsten. Okay, says Jamie. Well, yes, we are now flat. That's a flat line. It's a very flat line. Seb, did you see Amber this morning? You were here this morning?
I was, yeah. I'm just trying to remember. Yeah, I think so.
You think so?
I think so.
I'm sure... Okay, cool. I was going to say, I'm sure that Amber Eyes has been with the slightly smaller split with the males, but I haven't seen her yet today. Or if I have, I haven't properly, I've probably seen her, but haven't really realized that it's her. Oh, I should probably turn my game drive radio up at some point. I mean,
That's right, yes, I remember
Okay.
that. Yeah.
Okay, so the lioness with the wound is here as well.
Yes.
Okay. I find that lioness extraordinary. We harp on about it. I mean, it's become a truly familiar refrain. You could probably quote us word for word with what I'm going to say next, but the resilience of animals and their ability to overcome injuries that they sustain in the wild absolutely boggles my brain. It really does. The fact that she was able to survive with such a painful wound. I mean, it wasn't just a surface level wound. It was deep. It was into the muscle. It must have been absolutely agonizing. And it's taken a good year or so to heal. I think the first time she was seen with it was what? It was at the beginning of this year. So it's been nearly a year. Also, that's a youngster.
Are you talking about the wounds on
The wound on the hip?
on the back leg?
Yes.
Yeah, it's looking good and clean now, eh? This morning it was, yeah,
Awesome.
very clean.
Seb says it's looking good and clean and healed.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Sorry, Philip, yours was a serious question, and Kirsty derailed me slightly. Philip's question was, what was the most spectacular injury recover I've ever seen? And Kirsty, before I could say anything, said Brent's hip. Shame. That's mean, Kirsty. His hip hasn't healed. He just hasn't had the operation yet. So it's quite funny, though. Shame. No, not Brent's hip. Brent's hip sadly has not healed itself. The most spectacular injury recovery I've ever seen was a hyena. Actually, twice. Both times it was hyena. One was a hyena called Doyle, who everybody thought was dead because he was seen with a snare around his neck, and when we went back to search for him, he miraculously disappeared, and we thought he was, he died of his injury before we could find him. And he popped up a year later with no snare, looking happy as Larry. And the second was also a hyena, also a snare injury. Now, those of you who have missed out on what a snare injury looks like, they're horrible. It's something that happens when wire snares to catch other animals are put out, usually for bushmeat, and they are completely, what's the word I'm looking for? Where you're not specific. Oh goodness. Anyway, they get everything. They don't necessarily get what they intend to get. They get everything, whether it's a lion or a leopard or a hyena. You know what word I mean. I can't think of it now. And he also, we saw him on a camera trap, this metal wire that had pulled tighter and tighter the more this hyena tried to escape, had cut right down to the point that in the camera trap photo you could see the little bits of flesh around his, a little bit of cartilage around his trachea. So it was right down there. I mean, and down into the thick skin of his neck, down through the muscle. And we searched for this hyena, we never found it, and we were convinced it was dead, and it popped up again next year. Somehow managed to break the wire, I don't know how, and had survived that. Always something very sad to see, and obviously if any of the animals out here were to be found with a snare, we would immediately step in to help them out. But I've seen quite a few examples of natural injuries as well that have healed in situations where I never expected them to be able to. Deep muscular cuts. I can't think of anything off the top of my head because I've seen so many that nothing stands out. There's lots of examples though. Right. It appears as though our lions are off again, but we're not the only ones. It's go, go, go. All of a sudden on Djuma, a wild dog is standing up.
Well, they've just started some of the beginning of the greeting ceremony. So 2 of the adult dogs, you can see how important touching faces, etc. is for them. And it'll be absolute pandemonium when the puppies realize that the adults are waking up. We could see them come charging straight in here. But at the moment, they are very flat. But there is a sign of life from the adults. They've actually been rolling in some hyena dung, and that is quite common to see wild dogs doing that. And they do it quite frequently when they come across hyena middens and whatnot. They'll roll in it, often defecate on top of it. But a very lethargic start to the afternoon so far. But the signs are there that it is nearly time to get up and on the move and on the hunt. Quickly back to Jamie.
Oh, it was a good effort. It was a very good attempt. Hold on, Seb. There's one more lion coming.
Okay.
There's one more lioness coming, I should say. I don't think the Mangeni males are going to do it. They were doing their claw stretch up against the tree. Come on, this way, this way. This tree here. This tree here. Come on. Come on. There you go. That's the tree. No, 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 no. Bit more right, bit more right. Oh, no, no. Oh, darn it. Well, it's worth an effort. There's a Mangeni male. You never know. Let's see. There's an off chance it might. We've positioned ourselves here. I'm not moving. It took some serious maneuvering to get... Yes, good boy. Good boy. Well done, boy. Slightly creepy looking, shame. You can see the fresh scrapes from the lionesses earlier up against the bark. Here comes his buddy. Big stretch. Oh, shame. Right, well, we managed to get that. Brent's dogs are up again. Backwards and forwards you go. Who knows where you'll end up in the end.
Well, listen to this. The full greeting ceremony is starting. You can hear the lovely high-pitched whines and squeaks. Hasn't quite got into full pandemonium mode yet, but the puppies are in, begging the adults for food. Here we go. And we're up, and we're gone. Okay, hold on. We're going to have to go around. They're going in a bad direction for now. You ready, Craig? I'm just going to move around. Hold on, everyone. As you know, when it comes to dogs, it's a Ferrari safari, and no tree will stand in my way. Now, we don't want them to actually go this way. This is heading back away from Juma, back towards where they came from this morning. But as I say, we can't actually control where they go. And let's see what happens after the greeting ceremony. Puppies just playing. Puppies. Now, there's only one female amongst the adults here, which makes figuring out who the alpha female is quite easy. And she's the one who's standing up in the front there, to the right of the puppies. And whether she decides to go that way, hopefully not. Hopefully she turns back towards the north. See them sneezing, but it does unfortunately look like they might head. Well, if they go to the west, that's fine. Now you want to stay with the adults when they get on the move. This is one of my favorite things in the world to do: hunt with puppies. It says, just checking, Brent, do you have enough petrol? And the answer, Soup, is oodles and oodles and oodles. So So we're with 3 of the adult dogs, the alpha female and 2 of the males. I haven't quite worked out who the alpha male is in this pack just yet. We're just trying to see which way they're going. The alpha female seems to be choosing the direction, which is not a good direction for us. Nature Girl says they look really skinny. Nature Girl, they are naturally like that. Hello puppies, hello babies, little ones. Stop looking at my tires like that. They are heading, unfortunately, away from the deeper part of Djuma right to the edge. But you never know, with dogs they can change their direction and their mind very quickly. Victoria is wondering, what do the puppies do during a hunt? Well, at this age, Victoria, they actually sort of partake in the hunt as well. They will run behind the adults. Remember, they are almost 7 months old. Achoo, achoo. You can still hear the red-crested coron calling in the background. Now, we are hoping that they don't go the way that the alpha female is facing at the moment. I'm just going to call the guys in the east, just to let them know there's a possibility that the dogs might come back. Any station in the east, copy. The Matloa up on the move, not 100% sure of the direction yet, but they are quite close to Triple M Gari Main Junction. I'll keep you updated. So there we go. The alpha female to the right. Copy, thanks. Now, you can see she's got quite a distinct, nice big chunk out of her ear, and you know what makes her the easiest to tell is the fact she's the only adult female in the pack. And she's got a couple of big kinks out of her ear. Pretty girl. Okay, I'm just checking what's going on. It looks like they might not head straight off Djuma, but they might head along this new road. Well, not so new anymore. And this is the alpha female here. Okay, well, we see what these guys get up to next. Let's go back to Jamie with lions also on the move.
Guys, how many lions did we see? Because I'm now seeing 6 in Kahumas. One of them came out of nowhere. I don't know where she came from. I didn't even realize she was behind me. 1, 2, oh goodness, oh dear. Oh, it's all going pear-shaped. Hold on. No, don't take me into this. Okay, I'm going to try to get round. I'm going to invest. I'm going to take a long-term investment in our future shots, Seb. We're going to try this route. It'll take us a bit further from the lions, but might just... Yeah, I don't think I can get there in time for them to walk towards us even. Watch this. This is... Oh no, it's okay. It's bush willow. This looks dangerous. Let's just keep going. We're going into the drainage. Whoop. Whoops, not that tree. Running, running. Where are we running? Why are you running? Where are you running? They've got something. She's got something in her mouth. Like, what was that? The rest of them are all calm. She must have found something. Hold on. It's not an easy area. We might have to go around this drainage. I don't think we can get through it. I've been waiting for them to take us in here. It's just been a matter of time. So far they've been kind to us. Okay, my Right, this was thoroughly entertaining. I'm sure you all enjoyed it. As wonderful as it is watching me try and drive and look at the back of my head, let's go back to the wild dogs. Oh, whoops.
Well, we're still with them. Unfortunately, they are heading in probably not the best direction for us, but for now, we're going to enjoy them while we can. And we're going to have to do exactly what Jamie has just done, and that's go round a donga. As it looks like they're going to head towards Arathusa again, where they came from this morning. Okay, let's get around. Once the little ones pass beneath us, let's get around to the other side of the donga. Sue is wondering, have I ever witnessed wild dogs choosing a new leader? Sue, what happens is when an alpha female dies, quite often it is actually the end of that pack and they sort of bombshell and split. It's very seldom that a beta will actually just immediately step into that alpha role. Normally they will break up. So when an alpha female is killed, it is actually quite a big problem for dogs. Okay, I need to concentrate here. Okay, we're back with them. So they are heading straight for Arathusa. There we go. With the front dogs here. Okay, here they come. I'm just trying to think where we need to go. Let's try to get ahead of them. I think it's going to be quite difficult to stay with them through these thickets, so I'm going to try to get ahead of them. Okay, well, I try to keep up with the dogs. Let's go across to Jamie, who's following the lions.
Following the lions is tough work, but someone's got to do it. I'm hoping they're not going to do the same thing that Brent's dogs did to him, which was go across our boundaries. They're not there yet, though. Oh, dear. I think we're going to have to go all the way around. This is a nightmare. I've just heard somebody drive past and go, oh, lions on the road. So the road's not far, clearly. I know that tree. It's still, actually, to be honest, it's still quite far from the road. Seb, how? How do we do this? The males at the back. There's a significant difference in size between... Let's try that whole sentence again. There's a significant difference in size between the Mangen males and that Talamati boy. Ouch. Niconico viewer would like to know if the lion is the largest member of the cat family or the Felidae family. Nope, it is not. It is, however, the largest member of the feline family that occurs in Africa, apart from the sort of unnatural instances of tigers. For tigers, the Siberian tiger, to be precise, is the largest of the members of the feline family. This is a bad idea. This is aardvark holes galore. Alright, Brent's dogs are abandoning him. Jamie's lions are vanishing. Let's go to Brent's dogs before they disappear for now.
Okay, so we're right on our western boundary now, and they are right on the boundary. I mean, just in case they pop through to Arathusa, I decided we should have a last look. Very sad they've only come for a short visit. It'd be much nicer if they'd headed deeper into Djuma. Oh, there's dogs about to pop out behind us as well. We're now in my favorite place to be, which is wild dogs surrounding me. We've got them directly behind us, right in front of us. Here we go. One of the little puppies coming to have a closer inspection. Look at this. Right next to us. Hello, little pup. Hello, little pup. Hello, little pup. What's the matter? He's quite curious. He's just not quite sure. Hey, little guy. Hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's currently 2 stations. And a third from the north making their way. They are heading west down Triple M now. They are mobile west on Triple M at the moment. There are 2 stations here, one making their way, but someone will be pulling out shortly. I'll keep you updated. Sorry about that, guys. I'm trying to control vehicles coming in and out. Okay, so Harley's wondering, what is the chances of a human being bitten by a human being, or a human being bitten by a wild dog? Sorry, this radio is very busy. A lot of people trying to get in here. The chances of them being bitten is very slight. There's been never a recorded case of a wild dog attacking a human being, but however, being a predator and opportunist, there's always the possibility that if a small child or something was wandering around by themselves, that the dogs might take advantage of that. So, just trying to see, that look like they might cross into Arethusa now. But, yeah, the alpha female. Hopefully they keep going down the main road with us. So there we go. There's alpha female and one of the males heading across the road. We will stay with them as long as possible. Let's just try and move a bit further up to opposite, and you can see she makes a lot of the decisions for the pack, and when she's decided the direction that they've gone in constantly this morning so far. Okay, there we go. I think this is going to be our last best view. Yeah, make your way quickly onto Triple M. They're crossing into Arethusa. So Triple M just above Gurry Main Junction. Firm, yeah. If you're coming from the junction side, just keep coming. They're crossing into Arethusa. Sorry about that, guys. There's quite a lot of people, and obviously with dogs, as we know, if you're not around, you will lose them. So the guys are rushing to to get here, and we'll have a last few looks at my favorite animals, my puppies. But who knows, they might be back early tomorrow morning, and hopefully we find them. Yeah, whoops. No worries. Okay. So, no worries. Okay, well, it's been wonderful having them around, even if it was for a short time. You never know when they're going to arrive back. In the meantime, we're going to send you a couple of thousand kilometers back to the north to Gigi.
Very well done, Brent. I mean, sighting of wild dogs is not just any other ordinary sighting to me. It's very special. We have wild dogs all over Africa, and sometimes they're rather difficult to spot. And especially when they're in motion, they are always flying away, or they can always move very quickly. Well done. It's always worth to watch them for every 1 second. But at the moment here, it's getting a bit dark in this part of the world, in the Mara Triangle in Kenya. And I'm just enjoying what I would call the golden moment before I wrap up my day in no more light, in no more color. And look at that beauty. Very good. Casting the final control says it is stunning. It is truly stunning. I'm not sure maybe to ask all of you, our nice viewers, in one word. Linda, thank you very much. You said this is like a painting, and I would agree with you. And you got those words out of my mouth, Linda, where I was thinking I would ask all of you nice viewers to give us a tweet, as usual, hashtag SafariLive, in one word. And I mean, just tell me, what do you think? What of you? Linda says it looks like a painting, and I cannot agree with you, you know. I don't know. Archie, what do you think? Benjamin, you say stunning. That's good. Stunning. A painting. I mean, those are two very strong words, because what else could you ask, you know, the world to give you? Jasmine, spectacular. Thank you very much. Keep sending the tweets. Hashtag SafariLive on Twitter. What do you think of that? Because Archie is doing the best he can, and Archie is saying he has no words for that, meaning he's just blown, and I should just let him do his job to allow viewers to keep sending tweets. Glorious, fantastic, glorious. Haley is just about stunning, almost 7 o'clock in Kenya, but you're still enjoying this moment of what they called the golden light. I agree with you, glorious. The trees that you see there are called the torchwood trees, which are very iconic of the Mara Triangle. And the two big ones on the left there, those ones are fig trees, much bigger canopy than the torchwood, and much bigger, or got more branches and leaves, unlike the torchwood that you see on the right there. What a beautiful cloud. And thus is definitely our western horizon. Slowly the sun fading, and I'm thinking I should keep quiet for at least 10-15 seconds. And that is the picture, I think, when anybody would go to bed, would like to go to bed with. And it would give you, I would guess for me, a very nice sleep, knowing that you close your day on such a special, well, painting, as some of you have said, painting, stunning, glorious. Thank you so very much. It's time now for me now to move, having seen that beautiful sunset there, and find out who will be on the road as it's getting dark. Okay. Parker, you need to move and back up slowly. We have enjoyed. Christine, thank you very much for your comment, and you said that was inspiring. Many thanks. As I got maybe to bed tonight, I'll go to bed an inspired person. Fantastic. All right.
Sorry about that, everyone. There appear to be a few gremlins attacking poor David's vehicle. There's Amber Eyes, instantly recognizable, leading the Pride straight in our direction. Rapidly, unfortunately, approaching the Buffelshoek boundary, which was not where I expected this afternoon to go. Here we go. Leading the way. Oi! I put myself here so carefully so that you'd come this way. But you didn't. You changed direction at the last minute. Oh, they've been spotted by some impala. Can hear the first alarm call. 1, 2, 3, 4. I definitely count 6 in Kahumas. Shame they are hungry. That's the problem. The price they've paid for having males hanging around them is that any meals that they do catch, the lion's share so often goes to the males. I'm sure they wish they could ditch them. Just for a little bit. Hello, boys. Shame. Here he comes. I'm sure there was meant to be a third Mangeni male, but I haven't seen him before. They're much better. Jeepers, they're a lot better. Compared to when I last saw them, which was probably just before I went on leave. That mange is vastly, vastly improved. They're going to be fine. They're hungry, but they're going to be fine. Oh, just contact called. Come, buddy. Move a bit so I can turn round. Oh, there's one left behind. That's what they're contact calling at. There's 2 left behind. Bear with me a sec. Are there any stations interested in the Nkuhumas? Yes, no? Because I'm going to lose them soon. Stations, the Nkuhumas are just crossing the fire break at Aubrey's Road. I'm going north. Oh, no, they seem to have changed their mind. Anyone behind me? No.
No, you're good.
Very good. They really do. Can't believe how vastly improved they are. They, for all that they have probably disadvantaged the Nkuhumas slightly at this point. The Nkuhumas were probably the key to their survival, because in the times that they were at their weakest and unable to hunt, the Nkuhumas provided, whether they wanted to or not. And ultimately it'll be interesting to see how it plays out, because of course the Nkuhumas only have one son. There's only one boy in this current age group of sub-adults, and he could really use a friend, or 2 or 3 or 4. And the more friends he has... Is this the one with the injured hip? There's got to be a reason why she's so slow. No, it's not her. It's the same one that fell behind earlier. Actually not limping. She looks fine. Paul would like to know which animal is most caring towards injured siblings. I've seen lion prides be very, very gentle and caring, especially cubs of the same litter towards injured siblings. I have also seen healthy cubs shove injured siblings out of the way to get to food. So it's a toss-up with lions. Wild dogs are really, in terms of the animals and altruism, wild dogs lead the pack. They are so kind to each other. The injured, the infirm, the old, the young are the most important members of the pack, and they are looked after. We've got one more opportunity for a walk by here. They are looked after by the rest of the pack. Bear with me. I'm going to get you beautiful sun, and I'm going to get you lions, and I'm going to get you that stunning sky, but I'm just going to do it from this angle, so when they walk past us, we've got them. Because this is the northern boundary of Djuma. It means, unfortunately, we cannot follow them any further than that. Of all the beasts running away. They've flopped down again, which is very, very convenient of them. Okay. Well, I think it's safe to say that one animal, no matter how we want to phrase it, that is not kind to injured siblings is the spotted hyena. Brent apparently has found one.
Well, it looks like it's Corky, the matriarch of the Djuma clan, and she's lying near where Hukamuri has a kill. How's it, guys? And obviously she's hoping that the hook will drop something for her. I know he's supposed to be around here somewhere, and I haven't seen him just yet, but we do know that Corky is here. So she is obviously waiting for Hukamuri to hopefully drop his kill. I think his kill's actually a little bit further down the road. And she looks quite relaxed. Let's go forward a little bit so we can look at her from the front. It was quite a nice pose, a sort of very ladylike pose for a hyena. She had her head resting on her two front feet, which were perfectly together. But now her head is up. But there is the cork. It looks like she might put her head down now. There we go. Achoo! Achoo! Good old Corky. Apparently it's ribbon. I'm not so sure. I saw that distinct ear march. And when she was standing when we arrived, I'm pretty sure we saw suckle marks as well. But anyway, let's go see if we can see the hook while the hyena lies lounging next to us. So he was supposed to be sleeping on a termite mound somewhere here. Where is Hukamuri? Apparently his kill was in this tree coming up over here. I'm not seeing much meat in the tree anymore. He might have scoffed his way through it, which means he'll be on the move again shortly. Is that the hook? There is the hook. Definitely not the best sighting of the hook we've ever had. And you see him there, Craigo? A few spots on top of a termite mound. Very lazy looking leopard, and why shouldn't he be? He's got a full belly. And actually, I got the tree wrong. It's actually the next tree that his kill was in. We're not going to hang around too much. He is, unfortunately, just to the south of us. Let's go have a look and see how much meat he might have left. It was actually this next Murula tree where the meat was. And I'm trying to see if we got a better view from a little bit further down the road. Maybe not. No. You can see almost. Oh, he's still got quite a fair whack of meat left. Of that impala carcass. Young male up in the tree there. He's still got the majority of the rib cage and the forequarters left. So he's definitely going to be here tomorrow, unless he manages to drop that impala for the hyenas. Just trying to see. We can't really get a view of him from here. He's on top of that termite mound, but his back is to us. I think there, Craig, maybe? I don't know. It's definitely not one of our better leopard sightings. Yes, no. Can just see him through the trees there. Okay, well, we'll maybe come back and check a little bit later. Maybe he'll get hungry. Ah, sorry, I lost my earpiece there for a second. But we're going to send you back to Jamie.
Well, hopefully Hukumuri does decide to get hungry a little bit later, because we have got very lucky. The lions were about to cross, and they very kindly, very considerately sat down just before the boundary. Just to explain what I mean by that to our newer viewers, essentially there are some places we can drive that others can't drive. There are some places that others can drive that we can't, and you get the idea. So the place just to the north of us is one of those areas where we cannot traverse, we cannot drive, and that is where the lions were heading. So we're very happy that they've stopped exactly where they have. Is it my imagination, or have the Nkuhumas become slightly more accepting of the Mangeni males? When I went on leave about just over 3 weeks now. Yeah, 3 weeks ago. Every time the Mangeni males were anywhere near them, they started to growl and snarl and just look thoroughly put out. Now the males are actually being allowed to lie right in the middle of the group. They don't seem to be allowed to lie next to the lionesses. I don't know if I'm wrong about that, or if you've had sightings where they have snuggled up to the lionesses. I haven't seen that myself. I don't think we've ever seen them actually physically touching the lionesses, which of course is better for the Nkuhumas for now. Let's wait for the mange to clear up, because I do think it is going to clear. I think that it's going to clear up. If we keep getting rain, it will also hasten their recovery. They're still very thin. They're still 2 little bags of bones, but they'll be okay. Oh, shame. When they lie on their side, it's the most prominent, it's the most evident. They just look so uncomfortable. Absolutely, make your way. I'm just letting the other safari vehicle know that they can make their way into these lions. So a lot of you, of course, asking questions about mange. I know we've spoken a fair bit about it in the past, but yes, the reason that they are so thin is because of the mange. It causes a whole load of different side effects. So mange is basically a mite that infests the hair follicles of the animal, and it causes a massive allergic reaction, which ends up with the skin developing these weeping, open, painful sores. It's very, very itchy. It suppresses the animal's appetite as well, and it causes a lot of secondary infection. And of course anemia for smaller animals that have mange, because the parasite load is just so heavy. So it can cause the death of the animal. Obviously, the larger the animal is, the more likely it is to survive. Now, these boys at one point had barely any fur at all. They were almost completely bald. And now, 2 weeks later, their recovery is actually astounding. They are so much better. They've hardly got any bald patches anymore. They're not scratching as often as they were. The last time I saw them... it's just a vehicle going past. I was about to say, I didn't call you in. The last time I saw them, they had bald patches everywhere. And they couldn't stop scratching. They constantly looked miserable and uncomfortable. Now they do look better, I feel. There's definitely a vast improvement. Oh, that is beautiful. Let's have a look. All right, Lauren, I'm going to answer your question quickly about mange, and then we're going to take a break from mange. Their manes are not growing because of the mange. I mean, yes, their manes are not growing because of the mange. You are absolutely correct. Right, we'll come back to the mange if you wish, but let's just take a deep breath and just enjoy the sunset. Spectacular. Unfortunately, the birds are really quiet this afternoon, or this evening, otherwise I'd say let's listen to them as well. But apart from a fork-tailed drongo, I'm not hearing all that much else. Distant rumbles of thunder, actually, which sound further and further away. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to get lucky with the rain. What do you think, Kirst? Is that equal to David's sunset? Not quite. She's a hard taskmaster, Kirsty. She said, well, yes, okay, they're both orange. We do our best to please her every day. Apparently David's was more majestic. Okay, fair enough. I always believe that the sunrises are better in Djuma and the sunsets are better in the Mara. Just to be fair. If this continues, we are going to get some really beautiful light. The good news says that David's had a glowing ember look, but this is nice too. Fine. Seb, how does that make you feel?
Very happy with our sunset.
I'm very happy with our sunset too. I think it's beautiful.
And we've got lions with it.
And we have lions with the sunset, so you know, there's that too. Okay, fine. Jeepers.
Right, zooming out then.
Fine,
Bye.
Seb's zooming out. David says this seems like a fairly average sunset. Okay, all right. Look at the lions then. Have you no romance in your soul, people? Goodness. Apparently you do for tomorrow. I'll see how it is. Seb, Never show them.
Last time we
Yeah.
saw them a sunset.
No, Seb says it's the last time he's going to film a sunset, and quite frankly, I agree with him. Average indeed. There's no average sunset in the Lowveld in South Africa. No such thing. Even the Telemarty male looks unimpressed with you. Right. What is interesting, of course, is the way in which he has been accepted by the Nkuhumas far faster than the Mangeni males have been. He's been seen rubbing heads with the various females, occasionally aloe grooming with them. Now, hold on a second, am I talking nonsense? Is this the Nkuhuma male? No, it's not.
It's the Telemarty boy.
I think it's the Telemarty boy. I don't think the Nkuhuma boy is that big yet. I just had a sudden moment where I had to check myself because I haven't properly had a look at him since I got back from the Mara, the Nkuhuma male, so I wasn't 100% sure, but it doesn't look like him. It looks like the Telemarty boy. He was quite rapidly taken in. But as I said, the presence of young males with the Nkuhuma pride might have been detrimental to them at the moment, but will ultimately have its own advantages, because I think that young Nkuhuma male could very well end up forming a coalition, and if he ends up with a coalition of 3 other males, that will make them a force to be reckoned with and immediately increases their chances of survival. I see how it is. Okay, fine, we'll take it. Apparently, David, first of all, was determined to outdo us with his sunset, and now not only has he done that, but he's also found some lions as well.
Well done. I think, Jimmy, you've done very well with the lions, the Nkuhumas, and I got some 2 youngsters here. And I've been trying to identify and know which pride they belong to, but they're just 2 males, not very far from the road. I'm looking at 5 meters from the road. As usual, sleepy, snoozy. One of them is flat down, which seems to me a little bit younger than the ones that's still holding his head up. And this is like the boundary between the sausages and the Owino pride. But now the Owino pride has only 1 young male and 4 females. So that one technically counts this one out. And the young male in the Owino pride had a wound, and a very gushing wound, I would say more superficial, on one of the hind legs, which I cannot see on this one. At night it becomes quite a challenge to identify and know which ones exactly they are. I'm looking very hard. Archie is also equally looking very hard. But one thing we know for a fact, the 2 young males, very well fed. Hello, who could you belong to? I'll just have a guess. He got like a wound on the left cheek if you look carefully there. And I would only guess he could be the male in the Owino pride. Owino pride got 5 in total, and 4 females, 1 young male. So most likely he must have joined this other male, and this could be the genesis or the beginning of a coalition of these 2 boys, because they're right at the boundary between the Owinos and the sausages. The sausages in the pride of lion here, the Mara Triangle. The Mara Triangle thrives very well with many different prides of lions. So my guess is this could be 1 male, the one behind, of the Owino, the youngster there. Just a few months ago, Butternut, which is the lead female in the Owinos, had left them and went mating with another male that's called Kipuli. And this young male here, if I'm right, decided to leave the pride, and he said go wandering and tried and joined a particular coalition of males. We don't know, I don't know which one. And he was battered, he was not very welcome, and by the time he came back, he looked in very bad shape. He had, scratch mark, teeth mark, claw marks all over his body. He looked very thin, but he has recovered, I would say, remarkably. I think Jamie was earlier talking of animals that she thought recovers very well, and she might have mentioned hyenas. But I think to me, the lions recover much better when I'm looking at the cats of Africa. Just breathing there very slowly, his head tucked in the grass because of the cold. I was saying earlier, I have now my final layer, but I still have my beautiful Maasai blanket. Rosemary, thank you very much. You like the name butternut. Somehow when we name animals here, and more so predators, I'm sure, Rosemary, you have heard of the waffles, those are hyenas. They tend to choose a particular theme, and the waffles have a theme of food. And butternut also, I think, is another good theme to name these cats. And I also agree with you, butternut sound very good. I do not know that there's lychee, also another lychee, which is a female, just like butternut in the pride of Owenos. And thank you, Rosemary, that you like butternut. We might have to name the other two. There are 4 females in total. We have named 2, lychee and butternut. The other 2 have not been named. Rosemary, I do not know whether you could have a choice or you have a word that you'd like to, throw us any name, and we can see whether we can use it. But also, as I said, looking at the theme of food. The sausages, which is another pride of lions I was talking earlier before, they were named the sausages because they were very fond of climbing a particular type of tree in the Mara called the sausage tree. They could either go up there running away from flies on the ground. It had so many flies in the grass, which they didn't like. But also the sausage trees make a very good shade, and they would go up there and take advantage of the shade and just even sleep or have a nap on top of the tree. We haven't named this youngster. I don't know why, but most likely because chances are he'll be leaving maybe this pride and maybe forming a coalition. And that's why maybe we haven't named him. Females tend to get proper names because they'll always stay in the pride, stay in a particular territory. But males at a particular age, 2.5 years, they'll always head out and go live their own life. But generally in prides of lions, the females remain. The youngsters that are born in the pride remain there. So you might get a pride having some adults of both males and females. Females will always stay, but once the males mature, they'll either be forced out by the females, or the males, the pride males in that particular territory will come and push the youngsters out. Either they may join them, but chances are they may not, because they don't want those young males maybe mating with their mothers to avoid inbreeding. So either they form their own coalition and looking for their own females elsewhere, or a time would come, go to a new territory and overthrow the existing males. To me, looking at this youngster here, he looks to be in very good shape. Maybe another couple of months or maybe another 1 year, if he combines with another strong male like him, they could easily overthrow or have a takeover of a coalition of males. This particular area we got what we call the Scarface with his 3 brothers, I guess maybe 3 brothers, and they're always in charge of this area. While lions being flat as these ones are, we're going to leave them enjoying their nap and move on. Or most likely we might be seeing butternut and lychee on the way. Alright. Okay. Poker, you need to back up. And because we're still on the road, I've noticed every time I'm finishing my drive, I'll either see hyenas or lions on the road, and I'm not surprised to have seen those ones pretty close to the road. All right, moving on. I could be lucky or happy to see any other thing, a scrub here on the road, a nightjar on the road. But I think as I'm driving, Brent could also be doing a bit of driving too.
Well, I'm just very happy we got to spend some time with the dogs and enjoying this incredible evening light we're being treated to at the moment. And we might go have a little look for Hosanna. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Apparently Kirsten says the evening light makes it look like I have a fake tan. I do not have a fake tan, Kirsten. I have a real tan, which is something you as a ginger would never know about, what a real tan is, because the sun will murder you. I think Kirsten would probably get sunburnt in this light. Beautiful, isn't it? It's just nice. Just take a moment and keep quiet for 30 seconds and just listen to the sounds and enjoy the sights. Gotta love those summer skies. Anyway, let's keep moving. So you never know where our little chief might pop out. So I'm gonna have a quick look around Ingwe Alley and that area. There's quite a lot of little bits of water around, so you wouldn't have to go to the pan to get a drink anymore. So the first bit of water I'm gonna have a quick look at is Chela Pan. A little bit of water, but no leopard. So we're going to head off to Ingwe Alley. Lizelle is wondering when was the last time we had cheetah on Djuma. Lizelle, I would be lying if I told you, and I can tell you for sure it was while I was still in the Masai Mara. I'm pretty sure, yes. No, that was while I was in the Mara. It was the last time we had cheetah on Djuma. So, quite some time ago. Craig, do you remember? No, Craig doesn't remember. Beautiful skies tonight. Even opposite, I mean, the cloud, the pink hue off the dark clouds. It's very, very pretty. It's actually, there we go. Well, when? 3rd of November last year, Kirsten? Or 3rd of November this year? I don't even know. I don't even know. Mother and two cubs. I don't even know where I was on the 3rd of November. But anyway, that's just such unique light. I'm gonna achoo quickly. Beautiful. Achoo. Okay, let's keep moving. Apparently, Kirsten says my achoo doesn't work when you're looking at me. Well, I'm allergic to cameras. That's the thing. So every time it comes near me, I start sneezing. Still really hot and quite humid, and there's some big storms, but they're all passed off to the southwest. Now, while I try to find an animal to put into this absolutely gorgeous light, Jamie already has the inkomas in the light.
I've got several animals to show you in this light, and it's so fantastical, I think would be a good description. It doesn't look real. Oh, shame. When they lie on their sides like that, they really do look so, so awful. It wasn't where I was going with this conversation. I was going to say, look how beautiful everything is, but I can't exactly pass over that without a comment. They'll be okay, though. They will. They're going to survive this. Look at things through rose-tinted glasses, everyone. It's a much nicer way to live life. Or orange-tinted. Mm-hmm. There's a sort of orangey tint to it, I agree. How do you describe this colour? I suppose orange is the right. Or dusky pink. No. See, I always want to be wordy. I want to try and think of the most appropriate word to describe it. Auburn. Sepia. Yes, sepia is not a bad description, although it's got slightly more pink to it, I feel, than sepia. What do you think, Seb? Sepia?
Peach, yeah.
Peach.
Peach is a good one.
Project
I like
Alpha,
that.
I think we'll go with your description. I think we'll say peach. It is peach coloured. Everything, the lines are certainly peach coloured in this light. They look absolutely lovely. It is peachy. Everything is peachy. As I said, look through life with rose-tinted glasses and everything will be peachy. Or rosy. Flop. I always wonder about this. It's nothing new. How we beelined straight in this direction and then stopped. Now, when I was in the Mara and when I was following lions throughout the night and following lions in a much more open area, what I noticed was because they can see a lot further, but I think it probably applies to these lions being able to hear as well, they picked a target long before the sun went down and they beelined straight for it. And they'd walk for a bit and then lie down and walk for a bit and then lie down. And it could easily take them up to 5 hours for them to get to what they were aiming for in terms of prey. But they always seem to have a much more specific plan for their evening than I ever credited them with before I watched them in the Mara. And I imagine it's the same here. There's something on their mind. They've got a plan. I just don't know what the plan is. My sense of smell, my sense of hearing, my awareness is not as good as theirs is. So I don't know what it is they've got planned, but they know where they're going, I would say. It just seems odd because there's no water in the direction they're walking in. So I wouldn't have thought that there'd be any buffalo hanging around there. But they do need a good buffalo meal. Or a zebra, something large. There's just too many mouths to feed for an Inyala or an Impala to suffice. Paradise Girl, you say what happened to the other Mangene male? Weren't there 3? There were 3, you are correct, although I have only ever seen 2. Apparently there were 3, and I don't know. I honestly don't know, I'm sorry. I've been a bit lax when it comes to catching up with the various animal movements since I got back. This last week's just been a bit, I don't know, I don't quite know what happened. Time ran away with me. So I've been a bit lax with catching up with the other guides. I haven't even looked at the WhatsApp group, which I'm part of, which actually updates me as to where the different animals are, if anyone's seen them. I don't know if he's with the rest of the Nkuhumas. I don't think so. So I'm not sure. I apologize. I'll try to find out for you, though. Someone will know. Oh, dear. I'm trying to check the group now, and I'm part of so many WhatsApp groups I can't even find it. I give up. All right. While we sit and enjoy this, and I try and find out about the Mangene male, let's go across to Brent and the giant peach sky.
Isn't that beautiful? We're just driving very slowly so Craig can keep the camera up so you can sort of experience what we're experiencing while we're driving. It is absolutely gorgeous, and so gorgeous that we're supposed to be looking for a leopard, but our eyes keep going to the sky. Don't worry, I'm still keeping a lookout for Asana. I'm checking all these little pans. No sign of him just yet. And I'm pretty sure if he's got a full belly, he's going to be one flat cat because it's still very warm. Absolutely magical. And Kirsten says it looks like an apocalyptic sky. Oh, I don't know. Maybe not quite apocalyptic just yet. Quite pretty, I'll give it that. Oh, hi. I thought you were still looking at the sky. Kristen says it must be nice outside. Yes, you stay in your little final control. You're not allowed outside. You'll get sunburnt in this light. But it is absolutely stunning. And we're just going along here very slowly. And James, the last place James had tracks for Hosanna was in this area on bushwalk this morning. So there's a possibility he might pop up at any time. And we'll do another loop around this block. See if we can get some luck. It's that awkward time of the evening where you don't want to pull out the spotlight. It's actually a non-entity, but also you need to concentrate a little bit more when you're looking for stuff, because it's that half light which can be very difficult to spot things in. Well, let's hope the little chief is just plonked in the road as we go around. Okay, well, we keep searching for Hosanna. Let's send you back to Jamie, who's still with the Nkahumas.
I'm still with the Nkahumas. Sorry, I was in mid-conversation. Bear with me one moment. No problem. There, I'm done now. I'm finished talking on the Game Drive radio. And this light is no longer peach. It is... Oh, come on. Give each other a proper hug. It's too hot. It's far too hot for lion cuddles today, this evening. It is... They must be roasting. At least they don't have fat bellies, although I shouldn't really say that because I'm sure they would really like a meal. But to try and digest meat in these sorts of temperatures would be thoroughly unpleasant for them. Here we go, having a jolly good groom. Could be a sign the females are still restless. The males, in typical male lion fashion, have long since passed out and not really moved at all. But the females are a bit more restless. They're up and down. Cool. And Seb's just letting me know that he can no longer make the most of the natural light and that he's going to have to switch in to infrared. There we go. Ta-da! Magic. Magic. No more peachy light for you. It is now grayscale or nothing. Luckily we've got grayscale. For new viewers, we utilize infrared light in order to be able to view the animals without having to shine any artificial light upon them, because whilst it might be okay to spotlight a full pride of lions and watch them with artificial light, there are circumstances where you can interfere with the animal's natural behavior, and since we have the technology available to us, we're going to utilize it wherever possible and watch these lions in black and white instead. It has opened up. Oh, we're getting almost quite close to cuddling there. Philip, interestingly enough, we were talking about this yesterday on the Safari Lives, which I assume is where your question came from. Or perhaps not. Perhaps we've been talking about it in other contexts. Philip wants to know if lion genetics have the same resilience to inbreeding that leopards do. Yes. About 6 generations. And that they can survive in terms of inbreeding before it starts to have negative effects on their genetic structure, which of course will express itself through their phenotypes. So I have seen inbred lions once in my life in a most revolting place that claimed to be, as these places so often do, claimed to be rescuing lions. But we saw lions with shortened limbs and all sorts of genetic problems, where clearly they had been bred and bred and bred to the point that they no longer had any sort of healthy genetic structure to them. And there's no future for lions like that. And they cannot be released. They cannot be allowed to breed. But for wild lions, a little bit of inbreeding is quite common and quite natural. So although they have a social system that is designed to avoid it, so for example the males disperse when they're ready. So when they reach sexual maturity, they disperse and they move off. Sometimes things happen, whether it's the males are occupied elsewhere, the dominant males, or perhaps they're not paying attention. Males mate with their sisters or their cousins. It's one of the things that happens where in places where animals are treated for natural injuries. So if a male lion is injured and he's dominant and he's territorial, typically as a sort of natural part of the way of things, an injured male lion will either survive or he won't, and he eventually will pass on, and the next fresh set of male genetics will come in and mate. And that usually happens every 3 years, so that the dominant male's daughters grow, reach sexual maturity, but then he doesn't mate with them. But in areas where those male lions are treated, they survive and are dominant for a much longer period of time, and as a result, inbreeding is more common because they are dominant for longer than they should be, and they mate with their daughters and sometimes even their granddaughters. It also can happen in smaller closed reserves where the population of lions is not managed correctly. Philip, Kirst, is it Philip with 1 L, 2 L's, or multiple L's? Philip has requested, and yes, Philip, I am familiar with that. Philip wants me to call lion paws murder mittens. I can't call lion paws murder mittens because sometimes they're so gentle with them. Well, I suppose you could be gentle with murder mittens. What would you call their faces then? I've got murder mittens and I can't think. I'm not nearly as creative as you, Philip, am I? I apologize, I don't. Murder mugs. No, it's horrible. I don't like it. Don't like it. I refuse on principle that I'm going to get at least 3 offensive personal messages if I continue to call them murder mittens. Someone will be aggrieved. So on that basis, I'm terribly sorry, Philip, but it would just clog up my inbox. It's a pleasure, Philip, it's a pleasure. No problem. Chip, chirr. In about a week's time, people are going to be going, "Shut up, Kingfisher!" at 4 o'clock in the morning when it wakes them up on their morning off. It goes like that every year. Where the woodland? Oh, it's the woodland. I'm so excited. Ah, shut up! Not outside my window, you horrible bird. Go back where you came from. There's a pygmy-fro, or a red-chested cuckoo. Nature girl, okay. Munchy mouths is okay. Munchy mouths is okay because it doesn't make them seem quite so sinister as murder mittens. Although I must say, murder mittens is a bit funny. Munchy mouths. That just makes me think of Pac-Man. MGN says, okay, if we're not au fait with calling them murder mittens, we should call them dinner gloves. Yeah, okay, they've got dinner gloves. Alternative names for lion's paws. Razor fluff balls. No, that doesn't work. I'm not nearly as good at this as you are. Okay, and we're off. No, I fear this will be farewell to the Ninki Pumas. Here we go. Sorry, I'm an idiot. I was not watching. Stuck the top of my head in Sebastian's shot. All the things our poor long-suffering cameraman put up with. Completely silent. The only sound is just that every now and again they touch the dry bark as they climb over the dead log. Come on, ladies. Off you go and find a meal. And take those poor skinny boys with you, as they could definitely use one. Shame. I think it's going to have quite a serious impact on their physical development for a while. A temporary impact on their physical development. It's going to take them a little while to recover from that and grow at the proper rate of young male lions. One more? Two more? Hang on. Maybe they
It's
were.
the very skinny one. With
It is the very skinny one.
Look at his elbow. He's got a...
Oh, he's got a proper TB elbow there. Which makes sense because most of the lions out here do carry tuberculosis or have been exposed to it, and most are asymptomatic. But when an animal that is suddenly, for whatever reason, like mange, is weakened, then immediately the tuberculosis actually takes hold and expresses itself more vehemently in their system. That's quite typical to see. I mean, that would be almost predictable, one might say. All right, we're going to wave goodbye to our lions as they go off in search of their dinner, which hopefully they will find just to the north of us, and maybe even they might decide to come back by tomorrow. Off we go across to David, whose lions are eating their dinner with their munchy mouths.
Very good. I left my two other youngsters of lions before, and I've come across two other male lions. This one I can say without any doubt they belong to the Olololo breed of lions, and the area of the territory we are in as he's trying to engage four-wheel drive to go down is the territory of the Olololos. Now, this is a buffalo they're feeding on, and they must have brought it down either last night or early this morning, but a pretty young buffalo. And remember, if this could be a bit squeamish for you, you may choose not to watch and maybe come watch later. But either way, this is how things play out here in the bush. Sometimes someone has to die for someone else to live. Lions being carnivores, they'll feed on other animals. So nothing to worry so much, but again, if it could be a bit squeamish for you, you may choose to switch off or watch something else. And for those having the courage to watch, should you have any questions, you're more than welcome to ask, or any comments, hashtag SafariLive on Twitter. And excuse me, these two youngsters here belong to the Olololos, and Ololo is a breed of lion that is around this area, not very far from where we live in the camp. I think these two youngsters might have brought down this young buffalo either last night or early this morning. My colleague Tristan must have seen them, same spot, and I think after they killed it, they dragged it in this little culvert that has water running in it, just maybe to keep it fresh. I'm not sure you can hear him tearing the cartilages and the flesh. You can see now is the head. It's quite muscular, and I just overheard a hyena, and I'm sure the same lion heard the same. That's why maybe he paused for a couple of seconds. We are very close to a clan of hyenas called the Olololo, and I'll not be surprised if they all gang up. Sorry, Leandri asked what? Does the what affect digestive system? Very good question there, Leandri. And you'd want to know, does the mud affect the digestive system? I don't think so. What would happen is it would act as some kind of juice or some kind of enzymes just to help to digest it, because most animals out here are adapted to be able to, eat or drink water that's not very clean, and it doesn't normally affect them. So I think the mud has a lot of water in it, is what I call clean mud, Leandri. So I do not think it has an issue on the digestion of that, or the flesh the lion is eating. In any case, I would say it aids or it helps digesting it. And if you listen carefully, you can hear him tearing the meat. What I would expect now is to hear the hyenas coming so close and trying to snatch this meal from these two lions. But I think Brent has a beautiful sunset.
Well, we decided to take you back into colour just to look at this absolutely gorgeous light and listen to the calls of a little barred owlet. It is stunning, and there's a big storm to the south. We're getting some big lightning as well. Let's see if we get a bit lucky. If we go move a little bit to the... No, actually, let's stay there for now. That's too pretty. It is dead still. There's not a breath of wind. Isn't that beautiful? It's very, very hot and humid still. But the rain, I think, is still quite far from us. We're not even hearing the thunder, and there's a lot of lightning directly in front of me. And see in that sort of patch of sky there. Let's just see, maybe we'll get lucky and see a big lightning bolt. And sort of every 20 seconds or so. A little bit more to the right seems to be where the lightning is, Craig.
It's a bit dark.
Oh, it's a bit dark, but we might get lucky. We'll give it a few seconds to see if we get a flash. Oh, but it sounds like we got 10 seconds for something to happen, because we're going to send you back to the Mara to David, who's about to have some lion and hyena action, if I think I heard correctly.
Well done, Brent, for such a beautiful sunset. And my sunset was an hour ago, and I'm sure you all know we are 1 hour apart, and that's a hyena that's trying to close in on this kill. You remember earlier I was speaking of hyenas who might try and sneak, coming close to this kill of these two youngsters. And at one point I had a hyena whooping from a distance, and I'm not surprised if gets those are two hyenas now, and they might try and gang up and raise numbers. And what we want to do is to intimidate those two youngsters here and try and snatch this buffalo from them. Now, those two lions, to me, they looked very well fed. They looked so full, and they might like as well, you know what, hyenas, you can have it. But at the moment, they're just watching and not sure what to do, because they know the lions are equally strong and not ready to let their dinner go. These are the spotted hyenas. Two of them there. They're just watching the lions from a distance. The lions have taken a small little break from the kill. And what I've always seen is the hyenas getting close, and they start whooping, they start calling, and they build in their numbers. And once they gang up, say 5, 10, they start inching closer and closer. They cock their tails, their ears start opening the mouth and growling and showing the teeth out, and they just become irritating. And I've noticed sometimes the lions will always let go. So this clan here of the hyenas is what we call the Olorolo clan. But there's another clan not very far from here that's called the North clan, and those ones, sorry about my head, are quite tough. We have always noticed them going and snatching males from lions very easily. These two boys from the Olorolo pride of lions are just full. Oops, time to sleep. They don't look very worried by these hyenas and don't seem like they will be intimidated by them. You can see this one particular is just focusing and looking at those hyenas as much as the sleep is getting the better part of him. Open the eyes. So maybe one of them will stay alert and the other one will just snooze. If they're the ones that truly brought this buffalo down, I don't think they're ready to lose their kill that easily. Yeah, I think they can read the scene and can tell these hyenas, cannot match them up. And because the kill is in a gully, they can easily hear the hyenas if they come in, because they have to splash the water or the mud, and the lions will pick that noise very easily and go down and, I would say chase them away. But at the moment it looks very quiet. Do you think you can see the hyenas to the left, Archie, or do you think they're gone? Again, sorry about the frame of the car. That's the best Archie can do here, is to swing across my head. And I think those two hyenas have just laid down there. And sometimes they might stay there hoping the lions will leave. But and if they're just two of them, not much they can do. Well, I doubt anything would be happening, because you can tell from the body language of that walking hyena is not of any seriousness. But maybe we'll go back to our lions there and have a quick look at them, and I'm sure they're going to be having a nap. And sorry again about my head. Well, lots of action today with Brent with the hunting dogs, Jimmy with the Nukuhumas, and me with what I thought was a male from the Owinos, and these two males here from the Olorolo pride of lion, just having an eating of the buffalo. To all of you, thank you very much. Join us tomorrow morning. Goodbye.